Good morning, my friends. How is everyone doing today? We are in this beautiful, I would say, rainy, thundering morning here in New Jersey, New York area. But again, it is a beautiful day. It is always a beautiful day. I would like to welcome everyone to Morning Coffee for the Soul. We're here every Sunday, and we are here on this beautiful 27th of May of 2018. So I would like to share with you today's topic, which is forgiveness. Now, the topic of forgiveness, I think I've covered it before, but it is such an important topic that maybe we should talk a little bit about forgiveness from two different points of view. Of course, in light of the Spiritist doctrine, but we can look at forgiveness towards others, forgiveness towards ourselves, and also, how do we apologize? How do we seek forgiveness from others? So there's three aspects really that we can begin on this topic. First of all, let's talk about the best definition for forgiveness. And there are so many of them. The one that I like the most, the best definition of forgiveness that I've encountered, I did some research on where it originated, and it's been attributed to many different authors, many different people, many different philosophers. But it was actually a guy who was on death row, and he was talking about forgiveness. And this is what he says: forgiveness is to give up on the idea that the past could have been different. Now, again, it is the idea. Forgiveness is really forget the idea that the past could have been different. Now, why is this so important? Because forgiveness is directly tied to whatever happened in the past, yet it's still chained to us in the now. Every time we don't forgive, we are chained to that scene, to that person, to that event. We are not free in our mind. And freeing your mind is the most liberating, is the most powerful thing a person can do. So the minute that you don't, the minute that you carry a thought without forgiveness, that you rethink that scene or whatever that person did wrong to you, you are re-feeling really that event or those words or whatever it was. And the thing is, most of the time, whatever happened in the past doesn't even remember you. It already is a past. Yet we always have this hope that it could have been different. And we hold on to this idea that that person should not have said those things to me, or that event should not have happened. And then we do not forgive because we keep reliving this idea that things could have been different. But the thing is, they're not. Whatever happened already happened. Whatever words were said to you that you're still holding on to your chest, and you're still with that sense of, and a lot of times we say that we forgave, but if you relive the scene over and over in your mind, and you still feel anguish or anger, or that you were done wrong or unjust, then it's not really, forgiveness has not really been processed. And another thing is, forgiveness is not an act. It's not one day where you just wake up and say, I forgive. I decided today to forgive all these people in my past. It's important for us to remember that forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is something that takes time. Some people have already reached the point where they don't even get offended in order to need to forgive. You see, you only forgive, or you only feel the need to forgive when you believe you were right, or that you were hurt by whatever it was. So you already assume a position of righteousness. In a way, yes, we already assume a position that we are right, and whoever said those words or whatever happened was wrong. Now, have you ever been wrong in your life? Have we ever assumed that something was in a certain way, but down the road we realized that it wasn't? I can say for myself, friends, how many times do we hear perhaps someone saying to us, oh, that person, when you meet that person is not what you think they are, and they're this or that. And sometimes we give ear to that. Yet when you meet the person, it's a completely different experience, and that person ends up being a great person. So we assume a lot of things. We assume that people did something wrong to us because they don't like us, or because they are doing this on purpose to hurt us. But for the most part, people are not evil. Of course, there are people that are still ignorant of love. But for the most part, people do things because they don't know any better. If they did any better, if they did know any better, they would not do those things. When Jesus at the cross asked God, his Father, to forgive all of those people, it's because he knew exactly their level of knowledge, their level of progression in this earth. So when Jesus says forgive them, at that moment of crucifixion, the most afflicted someone could be, the most pain someone could be feeling, yet he asked for forgiveness because he knew that those people were doing the best they knew what to do. And once we understand that people are just doing the best that they know, then we start having a different look as far as forgiving or not forgiving. How many times are we wrong? How many times we also need forgiveness? Anybody here needs or feels that they wish someone would forgive them? Or maybe this person has already passed away, that they're now in the spiritual realm. But sometimes we also think of something we've done in the past, and we feel the need that we need to forgive even ourselves. And that is the hardest person to forgive, is us. Because now we have the knowledge that we did something wrong in the past. Now with that knowledge, we experience pain, and even more, remorse. And I'll tell you, I think someone asked me, what's the worst feeling in the world? What is the worst feeling that someone could experience? I can tell you for myself, I think the worst feeling is remorse. Remorse is even worse than guilt. Remorse is something so painful, something that when you revisit something, some words that you've said, a relationship that you ended, anything that you've done, and you truly wish that you have not done that. And you truly feel the pain that that person experienced when you did whatever it was you did. And that's very difficult to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we look and we say, why did I say that to my child? Or we look and we say, why was I not there when that friend needed me the most? And we revisit the past, and we start feeling this remorse, this pain that we wish we could have done things differently. Again, we go back then to that definition of forgiveness. It is the idea, is giving up on the idea that the past could have been any different. It isn't. So what do we do now? Well, I like to say when we have to ask for forgiveness, or when we forgive others, whatever it is, if it's a case where you need to apologize or you feel the need to ask for forgiveness, sometimes it creates more problems when we bring up the subject again. And we have to analyze if this is something that we're doing for our own ego, or if and it would hurt the other person even more, or if that would actually do some good. So we have to think about it and say, did I apologize? What is an apology? Sometimes we apologize, but we don't even know that we're not apologizing. We're just making excuses. And I'll give you an example. If I come to you and if I'm late here on Morning Coffee for the Soul every Sunday at 8:30 in the morning, let's say that it's 8:45 and I come up and people are asking me, Debbie, I've been waiting for you since 8:30. And then what I do is I say, I'm sorry, everyone. I woke up late. My alarm didn't sound at the right time. And I didn't have my computer. I forgot to put the battery to recharge. Okay, well, we're going to start now. Is that a true apology? Well, not really. Because the only part of the apology that I did was to say that I apologized, right? What I did was I backed myself up with tons of excuses. And I truly never, I never really told my viewers that I owned it, that I did something wrong and I owned it. Now, it could have been true. All those things could have been true. My alarm didn't sound. I did not show up here at the right time. I forgot to charge the battery. But the thing is, with apology, we need three things. First of all, you have to know you're wrong. First of all, you have to own it. You have to admit it. So regardless of the excuses, and the more excuses we try to back ourselves up, the farther away this apology is sincere. So if I come up and I say, and I could explain why, but the apology is, friends, I am truly sorry that I'm 15 minutes late. I am truly sorry. So the first part of an apology is, I know that I'm not here at the right time. So own your mistake. Second, apologize. I am sorry that I've made you guys wait for 15 minutes. So I am sorry about that. And the third part is, offer how you can make it better, or offer a way of redeeming yourself from a mistake. So I can say, well, the way I'm going to make this better is we'll extend the program 15 minutes. I hope everyone is okay with that. So you see, when you apologize and you ask for forgiveness, so I can say, I own it, I'm late. Second, I am sorry that I'm late. Third, how can I make it better? Do you forgive me? So if the person forgives me, or if I start getting emails, angry emails of people saying, well, I was here and you're not professional and this is not right, and they start yelling at me, well, then that's when I disconnect from that need of forgiveness. Because once you truly apologize, you try to repair it, you ask for forgiveness, that moment you surrender to the other person's right to forgive or not to forgive. Now, why do I give simple examples? Because we can always complicate things, but once we give such a complicated example, it's hard to simplify it. So you can take this as an example and place this anywhere in your life. So anything that you've done in the past, if you feel that you've been unjust to someone, or that you need to apologize, you don't have to keep reliving the past, whether you're the one that needs to apologize, or if you owe an apology, or if someone owes an apology to you. All you can do is apologize, ask for forgiveness, own up your mistake, and offer to repair it or to make it better. That is all we have control. And this includes ourselves. If we have done anything wrong in the past, well, we can say, oh, Deborah, why did you do that? Okay, well, just forgive yourself. Don't make excuses. Learn from it. Apologize to yourself. I am sorry, Deborah, that you've done the same mistake again, even if it's a repeated mistake. But you know what? How are you going to make this better? And then that's all I can do. So sometimes we carry this heavy burden as if we have to constantly apologize to people or to the world. A sincere apology is much more worth than a lot of words, than a lot of explanations. And then we know that the more we kind of apologize, a lot of times it's just a defense mechanism, or it's a way for us to say, I'm really not sorry, but if I say it enough, maybe the person will believe it. And it stops being a sincere apology, a sincere desire to be forgiven. So again, we have to remember, we always pray maybe some of you, we say the Our Father, right? The prayer of the Our Father. And we always say in that prayer, forgive them, forgive me, as I forgive those who trespasses against me. And I'm saying me because generally the prayer we're asking for us. But let's bring this to us. We are asking, a lot of times, we are asking God, right, the Creator, because that's Jesus teaching this prayer. And when Jesus says, I will show you a way to pray to our Creator. So when I say, God, forgive my trespasses, forgive the things that I do wrong all the time, in the same manner that I also forgive others who do those things. So you see, sometimes we say some prayers that we don't even realize the contract that we're kind of signing with God, because we are asking Him for forgiveness, and we're asking God to forgive us at the same level as we forgive others. So think about it, friends. We say the prayer of our Father, and many of us have been Catholics in the past or are Catholics regardless. So when we ask for forgiveness, we are already making a contract with God to forgive us at the same level as we forgive others. So again, we have to revisit our own way of conducting ourselves and what we're asking for us. Because sometimes we feel that we need to be forgiven all of the time. Yet we carry this idea that we don't need, or we others don't need to forgive us because we have done nothing wrong. Again, the idea of right and wrong, it's really relative. If you believe that you've done something wrong, apologize. Own up to it. Say, I did it wrong. I am going to ask for forgiveness. I'm not going to excuse myself. And not only that, I'm going to get to a point to try to redeem myself and say, well, how can I make it better? And that's all you can do. Again, that idea of what forgiveness is, give up on the idea that the past could have been any different. The past could not have been any different. It was not any different. And we have to accept the things that we cannot change. Once I accept that I cannot change my past, I can only repair it. Then I free myself from all those toxins that I carry in my thought, that I carry reliving that scene over and over. And again, whether I did something that I deserve forgiveness for, or that someone did something to me, or even myself, I did something that I haven't forgiven myself. So give up on the idea that the past could have been any different. It was not. So once we know this, we'll feel much lighter. So again, also, Kardec in question 886, when he asked the spirits what was the definition of true charity, and I think we all know this question, and if we don't, this is what it is. Basically, what the spirits say is that you must be good to everyone, benevolence towards all. So be good regardless if people are good to you or not. Second part of it, be indulgent with the mistakes of others. And in other words, do not accuse, don't condemn, don't assume. Kind of give people the chance, right? So don't be so quick to judge. And the third part of the answer to that question is forgiveness. Now, forgiveness of others, of ourselves, and I'll tell you, friends, the people that are the most tough to forgive is really ourselves. Because again, we keep reliving this past and we cause ourselves again all of those motions that we did in the past. So we start feeling guilty. We start feeling like an awful human being for things we've done. And we don't need that. As long as we have learned from whatever it is, we have tried to correct whatever it was the mistake, then we need to move on. We need to get to a point to stop it and say, okay, my past cannot own me. I can't keep being chained to my past, to things I've done, to things I've said. I've learned from them. I've stopped doing them. And even if you haven't, it's okay because we are progressing. As long as we own it and we want to change, then we have the material to change. And another thing is, Chico Xavier would say that it's very hurtful when someone hurts us, but it's much more hurtful when we hurt others. So it's nice to think in this way. If someone hurts me, it's because I put myself vulnerable to be hurt. It's because I thought myself deserving of everything best, right? And not better, best. But people can't always supply you with your expectations. We only get disillusioned because we create an illusion. Remember that phrase, I'm always disillusioned, right? Because I had created an illusion. So when I create the thought that this person would ever hurt me, well, and then when they hurt me, then I feel betrayed. But in all reality, I never really know this person. This person never told me that they would never hurt me. And again, it's a human being, so it would hurt me at some point. And then I created these expectations. Once we create all these expectations, then we are putting ourselves a lot more vulnerable to getting hurt. But once we understand others and understand that people will make mistakes, they will say the wrong thing sometimes, they will be late, then you start understanding people. That's why Jesus never needed to forgive, because Jesus understood people. Jesus understood that people were progressing, they were growing, they were doing the best they can. And when we implement this towards us and say, people are doing the best they can. So if they hurt me, it's the best they can. It's what they have. It's the knowledge they have. So what are they deserving of? Love, or sometimes even distance. That doesn't mean that I need to live with that person or to keep exposing myself to their company. It doesn't. Because when someone hurts you repeatedly, especially, you do not need to expose yourself to that person and say, I need to forgive. Yes, forgive does not mean you need to put yourself in the same company or in the same situation again. We have to love ourselves before anything. So when people say, well, I have to keep forgiving this person because maybe he was intoxicated or she was intoxicated and she hit me. And well, we got to be very careful with this because there's free will there. We cannot blame. And if we study the gospel, it's very clear that you cannot blame any circumstances to act in any way. You have to own up how you act. So we can't also give people excuses. Well, as long as they're aware of what they're doing, and most of the times we are aware, because if I become intoxicated, I was aware at the time that I was going to get intoxicated. So we have to back it up, and that doesn't give anybody the right to hurt you. So when I say, we see this in domestic violence cases all the time. So when I put myself in a position where this person is always betraying me, but I need to forgive, there's always that story that people say husbands and wives need to be together the entire lifespan. If not, they're going to come back on the next incarnation again together. That is very, very misleading. I just want everybody to really read the gospel and really read the doctrine, because that is very misleading. Nobody says that someone has to stay together with someone that causes them harm. And that may be physical, that may be emotional, psychological. No, you can forgive. And forgiveness doesn't mean forgetness. That's another part. Forgetness is a mental process. So if I start to forget things, I might have to go to the doctor to find out why I'm forgetting so much. To remember, remembering is an ability for us to not put ourselves in the same position. So if I don't remember that if I put my hand on fire, I will get burned, then I'll continue to make that mistake and get burned all the time. That goes with people. If I don't remember that person perhaps steals, maybe they steal money, and I always leave my pocketbook open next to them, then they steal from me, and then I forgive, and then I need to do that again because, if I forgot that person, I don't remember that they steal. I don't want to remember that they stole from me. Well, that isn't a smart thing, because you actually need to remember what people do, so you have a choice to expose yourself to that situation again or not. So remember, forgiving is very different than forgetting. Forgetting is, I will forget the association of anger, of anguish, of vindication. That is fine, but not the act or what happened as far as what the person did to you. Okay, so an act could be the whole situation or just what the person has done to you. So again, we go back to Kardec. Forgive. Forgiveness, not because sometimes the person deserves to be forgiven according to us, because when you forgive, you are passing a judgment that that person needs forgiveness. So it's not about forgiving in that sense, but we forgive because it's good for us. So when Kardec asked that question and the spirits say forgive, it's because they know it's good for us. Of course it's good for the other people too, or whoever, or yourself, but primarily because it's good for you. So I want to end our morning coffee for the soul, and it's a very huge subject to speak about, and I only usually try to keep it within 20-25 minutes. I want to leave you all with this sense today of perhaps knowing a little bit more of what entails, forgiveness entails. So I hope you can all make good use out of the little bit that I passed on and passed on to you. And if you have any topic suggestions, make sure you put it here. Make sure you download the app for Kardec Radio, and I'll tell you why. Some people ask me, how can I see the past programs, or how can I see a show that maybe, find out if you did a show or not? Go to the kardecradio.com or download the app. You have all the shows there. You can search by the Morning Coffee for the Soul, for example, or just my name, and then you see all the shows, and then all the other great shows that we have. So just wanted to give you guys this option to forgive as well. Okay, so I ask for forgiveness for anything I say wrong here. And now it's that part where I say hello to all of you. We have a few people here with us. We have Adriana Faria, we have Chris Anastasia, and we have Adriana saying good morning. Good morning to you, my dear. We have Irene Leona is here, and she has the emoji with the hearts. I love that one with the little eyes, with the little hearts. Heart to you too. Rosine is here. Nascimento, she's out of Massachusetts. We have Teresa Castro. Oh, and Teresa had asked me about a past topic, and I hope I did it as far as our choices. So Teresa, last week we did that topic, okay, as far as our choices, okay? I hope you saw that. If not, it's there on Kardec Radio. And then we have Julia, I hope I pronounced it right, or Julija, okay? And she's saying good evening from Australia. Wow, we have, I wonder what time it's in Australia. It's got to be completely different than here, huh? So good morning to you. We have Marcos Falcão saying, wait, I'll do it this way so you guys, there you go, this way. This to you too, Marcos. And Rosangela Lima from São Paulo. Good morning from São Paulo. Looks like São Paulo here today. Very kind of rainy. I know it rains a lot there, but it's such a good rain, right? To just kind of stay under the covers. We have Rosangela Lima, good morning. And she's saying remorse hurts a lot inside. Yes. In my opinion, and I think if I ask you what is the most painful feeling, I would say remorse is up there. Remorse is a very hard feeling that we have to work very, very much with it. So we have to, it's a process. Remember, it's a process. Then we have Larissa Silva is here. Marilda Vega saying good morning to you. Vanessa Anceloni, our Vanessa is here with us, our darling Vanessa. We have Adriana saying, I have a hard time forgiving myself. Yes, and forgiving ourselves is usually the toughest forgiveness because we have to live with us. I sleep with me. I am always with my own thoughts. So with others, I can disconnect sometimes, but with me, I'm with me the whole time. And that is why I am the most important person that I need to forgive, because I need to live with me in a peaceful and healthy way. So it's a process again. Remember what I said, forgiveness is not an act, it's a process. Sometimes we need help, even therapeutic help, spiritist centers. Oh my goodness, what a medicine for us. Then we have Raquel. Raquel is here with us too. Thank you for this clear message, very helpful. Thank you, I hope it was helpful. It was very helpful to me. Marcia Lucas saying very good explanations about forgiveness. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Marcia. And again, I do some research, and then I hope that you guys can take some good stuff out of this. And Teresa saying, I understand when you say forgive, not forget. But so many places of the book say true forgiveness is forget. Again, forget not of the act. The forget is forget of this chain of emotions. We don't need to keep remembering in a way of reliving. So if we keep reliving our emotions around that scene, then we're not, that we have to forget, because that is not forgiveness. We keep refeeling those things, and that we have to forget. Now, the act itself is actually good for our survival, so we don't repeat or put ourselves in a dangerous situation. Okay, so again, not forget of the entire scene. I mean, that there's a lot of diseases that are related to forgetfulness. Okay, and we don't want that. We want to forgive, but we don't need to forget. Forgetness are usually related to illnesses, physical illnesses. So let's remember, forget the feelings of anguish, of anger. We don't need to keep remembering those feelings. Those we can forget. But the scene, we have to remember. It's a survival skill to remember. And again, so I hope I pass it on. I did it okay. Oh, so 11 o'clock p.m. in Australia. Wow, good girl. You're still up there, up and about here, huh? And we have Chris, Anastasia. I need to watch this over and over. Thank you for this talk. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad that you liked it. And any topic suggestions, please leave it here, and I'll try to cover next Sunday, okay? And Spiritist books, yes, Teresa. Yes, it's just sometimes the Spirit's book, they do say forgive. And if you can, bring given references. If everybody can share some references on forgiving here, it's great, because then we can go and put links and talk about it. But again, forgetfulness is I can forget my anger, I can forget my anguish, but again, forgetfulness of a situation that is even dangerous to you goes against our survival skills. Okay, so just different things to forget. And Lina Duarte is here, and now Teresa says thank you. So my turn to say thank you to everyone. I hope I did a little bit good, and I know you did a lot good for me, being here and sharing this, beginning this Sunday with me. Thank you all. We'll talk again next Sunday, 8:30 New York time in the morning. Kisses to all.